In general, when we look at the situation in Europe, we see that the European organizations and countries, they have to defend from three major types of attackers and threat actors. On one side, we have traditional cybercrime groups that conduct information campaigns and cyber attacks for the purpose of, for financial gain purposes. The second type of threat actors that we see are the hacktivists, which tend to advance political agendas through digital means. And then finally, we encounter activities of nation states that are more aligned with broader geopolitical themes and with the agendas that these actors might have. Of course, in many situations, there is not a very clear line between these actors and their operations. Sometimes there are blurring. For example, we know that Russia leverages a very extensive network of proxy entities to conduct some operations, and therefore bringing together nation-state operations with activist and pseudo-activist kind of operation. In terms of traditional cybercrime, you see that the biggest threat remains ransomware. It is vastly one of the most lucrative ways that threat actors have to obtain financial gains, because it's easy to execute. It can leverage a very broad and shadow supply chain that provides attackers with ready-made components that they can deploy. Something similar to the software as a service and platform as a service that we see in the normal ITC and ICT business. Russia is, in general, extremely competent in running disinformation campaigns. It has been part of their playbooks, and not only of Russia. This is something that many nation states execute when there is a need. Russia is now uses this information to target and to support the war effort that they have ongoing in Ukraine, and they use this information as a less expensive method to target those who support the adversary of Russia. So those who support Ukraine become inevitably targets as well. And this information is one of those means that they use to target. We can see that the topic of artificial intelligence is intersecting the domain of disinformation, because clearly Russian state actors are not oblivious to the advancement in technology, and so they use technology as they can to advance their agenda. Just recently there was a particular case where they created fake content using AI to target Friedrich Merz just after Friedrich Merz has expressed support towards Ukraine. So Russian actors in general are opportunistic. They use the techniques that they can assemble, but they are not necessarily just sticking to artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is one of the many tools that they have at their disposal. And this reflects some of the natures of these threat actors. They are not in there for exploring technology. They are in there for achieving a certain objective, and then they will use the technology that best aligns with the objective we want to achieve. I think we live in a moment in time where many of the equilibriums and relationships and ways to conduct international cooperation are being challenged. This is not necessarily something that has happened now, but right now we are seeing kind of a sudden acceleration of the erosion of these mechanisms of international cooperation. We have seen that some of our allies in the West are changing their approach. They are focusing more towards advancing their own personal gain, and that is reflected in the, for example, usage of tariffs as a bargaining mechanism to achieve what they want also politically. Similarly, security is something that is used to as a mean to an end to advance certain things. In many ways, I think we need to take stock of the fact that the world around us has changed, these equilibriums have changed. What we thought was the status quo is not necessarily something that will persist. And we need to find also how we as European nations, we engage with these different contexts that we operate in, right? So I respect greatly the work that our institution in the European Union are doing, because it's really trying to find the right approach for each of these changes that are being presented, like how to react to Russia flexing their muscles and testing the defenses of Europe and of NATO by extension, how to react to the United States imposing tariffs. This requires incredible restraint and the strategic thinking of what is the best thing to do for Europe and the various individual member states.